All right, it is Wednesday, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour. If you don't know me, where you been at? All right, my name is Mike Asherbrenner, professionally known as the Redneck Connector, and I am sitting here with the one and only Dr. Constance Leland, CJ of Level Up Academy. How are you today, amazing lady?
Fantastic! Even though it's raining in San Diego, I'm feeling good this week.
Is it raining?
It was at night, which is great because I need water. It's really hot right now.
Yeah, don't even get me started. My air conditioner went out, my internet went out, my calendar link went out. Yeah, it was bad. It was like the Book of Job, and I'm like, you know what though? Here's the hallmark of inner growth. I said it's just my turn. I surf on tsunamis, and I handle it like a champion. And then today it was busy, but oh, it's been a beautiful day. It's all mindset, right?
Yeah, and you started with me at 12, so we're good.
Yeah. And then I'm seeing amazing hounds, amazing people. I'm hearing stories, and I'm like, my goodness, because you get so busy, you don't have time to follow up all the time. And then when you're just chatting with people, you're like, oh wow, there's a lot of activity, man. Lua, the hounds, like so many good things. So, and we got special guests, Greg Mohr and Russ Hedge will be here soon. And so, there's no mystery, everybody. Like, times are tough, right? Times are changing rapidly. Almost as soon as you change with it, it seems like it changes again, right? So, we're going to be talking about beyond networking, right? Really, how to navigate, how experts attract and convert their perfect prospects, especially when times are not normal, right? When people aren't paying invoices or they're this and that. And so we're not the only way, but we do have a way. All right. So if you're out there, trying to figure it out and, why are things not going the way they could be? Why am I losing business? You know, listen up. All right. So I'm really excited to have you guys here. Very high level. You all been there, done that. And audience, we're going to have you chime in as well. All right. So feel free to, no stranger danger here. Feel free to chat, connect, network. No pitch slapping, no P with a pitch, no pitch slap. But yeah, connect and interact. Have a great time. We appreciate you being here. And before we get going and launch the video, check us out. Now, I meant to show this last week. I don't know. So Claudia does my graphics. She had better pictures. So I don't know if I did something wrong, but I'm teasing. So this was me actually left the house, right? And my littlest one there graduated. So that's what you see in the middle. And then we took her to eat. We went to Crystal's Diner. All right. If you're ever in Mount Washington for some reason, that's the place to go. Right. This is like you basically walked into a lady's kitchen. Like I love these little places. But then I fell in love, folks. So we go to the bathroom and I see this. Not your standard plunger. This is the it says redneck shotgun plunger. And so I was like, oh, that's it. That's coming on the show. And the lady comes out and was like, somebody told her. And she's like, are you famous? I'm like, more like infamous, maybe. Depends on who you ask. And she's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, man, this is great. So there you go. I fell in love with it. I said, yeah, that was me. So, and folks don't know this. CJ is a closet redneck. Y'all don't tell them.
That's true. I agree.
She
I
really is.
concur.
She,
Oh
if
my
y'all,
gosh. Wait, she graduated? Oh, what a
she
cutie.
did. She's going into first grade. And she is. Oh
Uh,
my goodness. This one is
Danielle's daughter, Elise, also graduated on Friday. Wow, they're big
really.
girls now. Yeah. She graduated too. Danielle was like busy out with the family, and I was like, "Oh, the babies! Our babies are too big." I know. I was telling my daughter, I wish her and her when she was 5, when she had a little baby blanket, and she would like do this, and she had our pacifier. I'm like, "Oh, I miss you doing that, baby." And she looked at me. She's like, and she's 17. She's gonna be 18. She's like, you want me on a pacifier? I'm like, no, I spent too much on your teeth. I'm saying the blanket thing, like I miss those.
Well, all right. So let me point one thing out here. Yeah, I never take this off. So I go in there. I was like, well, I don't be rude. It's a building. I'm old school. So I took the hat off, and then all that hair, like Marge Simpson, just like right. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot a haircut. So I'm like, okay, so now I got to go schedule one because I was like, that looks. At least I have hair. I just turned 44. Thank you for my birthday video, and the amazing folks that were in that. And appreciate you a million, folks. So let's get this party started. Let's roll the intro. Let's bring Big Greg up. and let's get to town. How about it?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Well, Papa's got to find the buttons. There we are. I found it.
Are you looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high-level, heart-centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbranner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
All righty. So real quick, I want to make sure, because man, the Hounds are doing amazing stuff, and we want to make sure we put that out there. If you haven't seen Kevin Smith again, where he been at? Okay, Kevin Smith, amazing guy, very successful, big-hearted man. He lost his wallet, in my words, looks like he lost his mind. He wanted to repay it to the young lady who returned it, and that turned into a wild goose chase, which is now a worldwide movement that is like wildfire. He has been everywhere, and he was recently in Rome. He has been with the governors. He's got a coalition, a bipartisan coalition of governors coming together. The goal is all 50. The UN, he's been there 2 times, I believe. And this is catching on. And in fact, we were talking about this backstage with Greg. York, Pennsylvania, they're putting kindness as the forefront of their, how they do business, and it's working. Crime rates are going down. Property rates are going up. Like, it is absolutely phenomenal. So long story short, Kevin Smith, thank you. And by the way, the Hounds will be putting this out soon. We put one video up. They have a documentary in the making, y'all. So I'm not going to give away too much, but there is a documentary, and this thing is unbelievable. So you get to see the sneak peek here, and first and only here. So mark your calendars, June 25th, all right, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, U.S. Eastern. You're going to get to meet the director and Kevin, and we're going to be talking about it, folks. So that I can't wait. All right, we got to be careful what we say, but we're going to be out there, and we're going to be dripping, and you're going to get to see who and all the amazing people, all the musicians, all the businesses. I mean, this is a humongous team effort to make this happen. And I believe I'm becoming the Kentucky ambassador for Kindness Worldwide officially now. So there you go, right? I'm glad I'm not grumpy, or I wouldn't have got that opportunity, right, Greg? So, yeah, Greg's back there like, oh, wow. So, yeah, Greg's like, what did I get into? You're too late, Greg. I know you're here. You got to come on now. All right. And then Troy Connors, man, his book drops in, August. Go check him out. This man, unbelievable guy, right? He went through the alcohol recovery, 98 days, and then they're like, hey, you got cancer, and they cut his shoulder out. I went through treatment, rehab things on alcohol. I could not imagine getting a cancer diagnosis. So that's the person I want to learn from. I've been there, done that, and now helping others. Because listen, there's nothing wrong with you. You just need guidance. You need to be ready to make a decision, and you need the support. All right. So go to troyconnors.com, get on the pre-launch list, get on there, and just get to know this man. He's all heart. And if he's not busy enough, he's out there helping people with cancer. All right. So birds of a feather flock together. Troy, thank you for being you, my friend. Inspiring and make an impact like no other. And you've had him on your show, CJ. I mean, well, more than once, I think.
Yeah, a couple of times. He's amazing. I love people who are learning from their mistakes and helping others not do the same thing, right? Often we make the same mistakes over and over because we're not intentional on looking at what happened in our life. And Troy is one of those person that's like, hey, this is what happened in my life. And I really love his framework. Halt is his framework, so I love that for sure.
Yeah, and he's quick. He's like, I didn't create it, but he's made it practical, and he's got his own things around it. Again, get the book, start there if you're struggling, or if you just want to better yourself, and or give a gift for somebody. But this is a great way by somebody who's been there and done that. And last but not least, there he is, David Mendansky. I always put the N and the A in the backward spot. Mendansky. Oh, he's just a cool guy. He really is. He is just the real deal. He has no agenda. People are attracted to him, and he's been a joy to work with. Jaded Health, his book is rock solid, simple, works. We just did a show on it, and we had Bill on it. We had April Wyatt, Michelle Ward, and we tried it out, and it worked. because if it didn't work, we wouldn't have had the show, right? We couldn't talk bad about it. So then we had this out, and I'm telling you, man, I love this program. Thank you, David. And again, his doctor said, listen, if you don't listen to me, you got to find a new doctor. I've been telling you for 8 years, you're overweight. And so he goes and researches and then climbs Mount Kilimanjaro at 67. See, my type of people right here, right? So he's the real deal. He's got a great community. And seriously, scan the QR code because it's $10 for the whole shebang now. That's ridiculous. But no, that's how this man is serious. He wants to make sure that people have real stuff. He don't want that to be a barrier to entry. So you get his program, the community, the whole 9 yards for $10. Don't be crazy, because I have been on multiple programs, and this is why you only hear me talk about his in 3 years, right? Like, so there you go. So thank you, David, for all that you do. And that's the health babe, right? He got to meet her. Like I said, he's just like a bug zapper for awesome. So thank you, man. Keep doing great stuff, David. All right. So how about it? How about we bring these folks up right now? And Russ Hedge came. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Hey, Russ.
We got Mr. Russ, and we have Mr. Greg Mohr in the house. Gentlemen, right. Greg, how are you doing?
Good.
Great. Greg is a man of few words, but listen, folks, when he speaks, it's valuable. All right, so y'all take notes. And Mr. Russ, how are you today?
Hey, I am doing good. It's been a crazy day, but I'm here.
And that's what counts, man. We appreciate
That's what counts. That's right.
Yeah. My mentor used to tell me, he said, you beat 50% of people by just showing up. I thought that was just something people said, but he was right. Like, Greg, you seen that? Like, wow.
Yes, sir. That's very true.
It is. He said 50%. Then he said the 40%, show up, work hard, get better, never quit. And then I said, what about the last 10%? He said, that's just an all-out dogfight right there. So, yeah, and that's been my goal. And I think right now it might be close to that dogfight. And that's exciting stuff. So let me go through this. I'll try to get some order before we go nuts. But, folks, if you're just tuning in, man, 3 powerhouses with us today. Seriously, cracking the code on attracting perfect prospects, especially in this climate. We see people discounting and doubling down on old techniques and things. Then you see another group of people breaking records. How are they doing it? Partnerships, right? Innovation, splitting their programs and innovating in those programs. We're going to be talking about that, all right? And especially when it comes to working with others. Other birds of a feather flock together. Partnerships, to me, is number one. So let's start. Let's talk about it. What keeps people from thriving? Why do some people thrive, especially in hard times? And then why are, other people are barely hanging in there? And also, I want to talk a little bit before we close about the difference between, your regular prospects and clients and high value clients, because that's another difference. So Dr. CJ, let's start with you. We mentored over 14,000 students globally, right? That's more students than I've even saw in my lifetime. So when somebody comes to you, feeling like the best kept secret industry, what's usually the problem? When they have value, but it's not being seen and they're just not getting business. What's some of the problems there?
Okay, so when someone tells me they feel like the best kept secret in their industry, what they're really saying is, whether they realize it or not, is this: I know I'm damn good at what I do, but no one seems to know it, or just me looking at myself or within my inner circle, right? So here's the truth in plain simple. The first one is usually not a skill problem. It's a visibility problem. And I see a lot of LinkedIn people, you don't have a visibility problem. Get real. You do. Yep. Okay. Hiding behind perfectionism. They won't launch that offer or post that video or write that article until it's perfect. And then you get this spoiler alert. Oh, you're just going to see it soon. Or relying on word of mouth only. I see a lot of my clients also, or my students sometimes saying, I've never really posted anything or paid any advertising for my business because I just rely on word of mouth. Don't get me wrong. Word of mouth is actually 60% of most people get their clients through that, right? Word of mouth isn't a strategy though. It's a side effect of one. Okay. Another thing is wearing too many hats, which I do, by the way, but they're busy doing the work that they're not actually showing the work. But today's marketplace, it's not visible. It might as well not exist, right? Because you have too much going on and you're like, okay, where are you going? And then struggling with imposter syndrome. Some people said, no, there's no such thing. I think there is, especially when you're breaking into new levels or new circles. Like Greg's here. He doesn't know us, right? Russ, you and me have worked in a long time. But sometimes you hesitate with your own authority, even when they've got the receipts that you got it going on. It's because of the uncomfortable part. But also lacking a visibility system. When you don't have a system, you just post randomly, don't know when the time's supposed to be, people are doing, you're pitching inconsistently and market like it's a hobby, not a business. Because it's a side hustle. It's a side hustle. If you keep saying it's a side hustle, it is a side hustle. And you'll never get out of that side hustle mentality. So that's really what the problem is.
Wow, we can just close the show now. What do you think? We just that was pretty much, thank you for that, CJ. Everybody have a good night. Well, first of all, you don't only wear many hats; you have many hairs too. So that's another one. But
True.
it's dead on. What and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but yeah, what you think about comes about. It really does, man. And so yeah, it could be a side hustle, but say, hey, I like to grow it one day. I'm starting here, but I love to grow this into an impactful, self-sustaining business. Why not? Right. So thank you for that answer. You never disappoint. All right. So, Greg, yeah, you have an interesting story, my friend. You went from corporate engineering to becoming the twice named franchise consultant of the year. All right, you don't get that by accident, right? So quite a pivot. What did you learn about attracting the right prospects that most business owners completely miss?
The main thing I would say is that when I first started out going from the engineering world and then going into the world of basically sales and getting people into franchising, is that the way that everybody was doing it was there are sites out there that you can go to that, you can look up franchises and you can just click on different franchises and say, I'm interested in this franchise. I'm interested in this franchise. And then we as consultants, we can go buy those leads and we call them on a as they send them, they'll send out 50 or 100, not all at once, but over time. And we used to call that dialing for dollars on that one, trying to find those people that has expressed an interest in getting into the world of franchising. But those people are not your ideal clients or the people that you really want to be talking to. You want to be talking to the people that have actually taken the time to reach out to you to set up a phone call or to do it. Because there's so many people that are interested, but when you're trying to attract the right people on that, and you want to attract the right people, you want to think about who it is that you're trying to attract on that. If you just buy leads from somebody, depending on what type of business that you're in, and you don't know where the people came from, you don't know what their background is, so you don't know that they're your ideal client. You're not attracting people, you're just buying leads and taking the shotgun effect and just calling people up. Big waste of time for us. Good way to get into the business, to get things started. And, we got some deals done that way, but you want to find out where your ideal candidates are hanging out and really who is your ideal candidate and what do you solve for them? What problems do they have or what things they don't have that you are going to help them overcome? You want them to be the hero of the story on that. You want them to be Frodo and you are going to be their Sam and you're going to help them get to where they want to be.
Very well said. And let me put it in not so eloquent terms, because I said the same thing. I said, listen, I could go out into the woods, spray a machine gun and hit a squirrel. That doesn't make it a sustainable strategy, right? And you're right. That people buy tons in bulk and they're just going out there. And to me, I don't know about others. Well, some others. That made me feel bad because I'm like, oh, well, people don't like my service. People don't like me. Well, listen, if you're marketing bald people haircuts, of course they're not going to buy it, right? You have to be like, hey, I want to start a business. Yeah, no, present company included. But hey, I want to start a business. See, that's a good lead, right? You start with Greg. But yeah, that's what I'm so opposed to. That's why I love working with you guys. Right? Like I hear someone talking and I'm like, oh, you need CJ, you need Greg, you need Russ, or you need another hound. And it's value. Like I don't have to sell. Why would I sell something that, it's goofy stuff? So thank you for that. That makes total sense to me. And audience, I put this is your time to chime in. I'm going to put it on the screen. It's on YouTube. Ask questions and engage with us. Right? We want to hear from you as well. So let's get over to the Russ. Russ made it, man. I am so glad to see you, brother. All right. Networking.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm telling
if you want
you,
to piggyback,
I'm telling you, so many great things. CJ, Greg, that was awesome. And I want to go all the way back to CJ's comment, best kept secret. I think if you're the best kept secret, then you need to look inward instead of outward at why everybody else isn't making you visible, and you need to start getting visible. If you're going to be moving from a side hustle to a full frontal assault, getting out there and letting everybody see you got to take action. It's up to you. Visibility and clarity are the keys to anything you're doing. Just like Greg was talking about, what problem do you solve for people? Well, how do they know if it's not clear, right? How do they know if you're not getting the information out there to them? So you need to be visible and you need to be clear about what you're all about. And that could be as simple as inspiring and encouraging others to live a purpose-driven life. I've heard that before from some guy. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's important to inspire greatness in others, but in yourself, you need to inspire greatness. You need to get out there. You need to push forward, whether you're live streaming or doing videos, whether you're posting, whether you're going to meetings and networking with groups of people, no matter how you're doing it, you got to make yourself visible. And I tell so many people that get in that, they're stuck in their marketing and their sales. They don't know what's going on. People don't know them. People don't know what they do. People don't know their business. I say, well, what are you doing? They're not usually doing much at all. And even if they are, it's kind of like showing up to a networking event, standing in the corner, silent, and just watching everybody. Why go? Why go? Because nobody knows you're there. And you're definitely not working on your visibility. When I go into a networking group, if I go into a room, I make sure I take every opportunity to speak. When they let me speak, I grab the mic and I take the opportunity to make sure people, when they leave that place, everybody is going to know who I am, right? I'm going to make sure. And that is what you need to do, whether it's online, whether it's through live streaming, through whatever you're doing in your business. You've got to make sure that people see what you're doing. They understand clearly what you're doing and how you can solve their problems. And then you'll quit being the best kept secret, as CJ said.
Yeah. See, Russ just, you could tell Russ has like 50 shows, right? Like it shines through. But you're absolutely right. Like I talk about the Picasso in the cave with the lights off, Russ. Same concept. You're just more eloquent like Greg and CJ. But I mean, think about it. Think about this, audience. Folks in the comments, if you have a Picasso in the cave with the lights off, is it valuable? How do we know? I mean, we can't enjoy it. We can't put it out. We can't see it. And that's what your business, not because I've been there. Well, nobody likes me. Well, first of all, you got to be clear, right? Because I used to go to networking and I used to think I was saying clear things, but here's what people heard. Blah, 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 right? So no wonder they didn't call me because I was like, what'd he say? Blah, 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 right? And no, and go look at Greg. Like, you don't have to sit there and go, well, what's Greg do? Like, you know what he does. He helps connect people with franchises that fit their needs so they can build a business and live their lifestyle and their dream. See, I ain't even looked at it in 10 years. I know what it says, right? I mean, basically that, right? So this is good stuff. I appreciate you all sharing this. And, well, Russ, let me ask you this. We'll go back around. It seems to me, again, this is what I do all day, every day, right? Networking seems to get a bad rep because mostly for the pushy tactics, right? Like Greg was talking about, like just big lead gen, DMs everywhere. Don't care about what you're talking about. So what does authentic connection look like in practice when you're trying to build a prospecting pipeline, especially on LinkedIn and like, social media?
Well, I mean, my specialty is connecting and building community. And if people want to know, the two main things that I do are inspirational speaking, helping you live with purpose and helping you to live with actual intention and on what you're trying to accomplish. But number two, and being visible. And number two, it's helping people with their marketing, whether they're built. And that, for me, that starts with connection and community building. Yeah. So there's so many ways to build pipelines of people, right? Here is one. You just get in a good group like the Hounds and you start connecting with people in the group and they connect you with other people, right? I'd never met Greg before, but I can almost guarantee you, I can guarantee you that in a short amount of time, Greg and I are going to be on a FaceTime call or a Zoom call by ourselves talking, right? because this is how you meet people. This is how you grow. And so you start working with groups. And I did that in person for so many years before everything shut down with COVID and we went online and we learned how to do that virtually. Same concept applies though, right? You start at one central group and you expand from there. Meet people, they take you to other groups, they take you to other foundations, organizations, other businesses, and you continue to grow and you build those pipelines. But you've got to actually do what you say when you connect and build community, and that is you've got to actually follow up with people. You got to actually show people you care, and you've actually got to make a difference helping other people along the way. You really got to show true connection and true willingness to uh, help them along the way as well. And if you don't, people don't care. Just like John Maxwell says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. When you show them you care by your actions, you're going to start building really important people. And we talk about it, the know, like, and trust factor, right, Mike? So it's not a ladder, it's a wheel. It's know, like, and trust, know, like, and trust. It goes on constantly. You're constantly getting to know people, getting to like them and them like you, and then them getting to trust you. It's a constant ongoing process. And as that goes, you get people up to that trust level. Those are the people that you collaborate with, do business with, people that buy from you, whatever you're doing in your business. That is how it works. And so you've got to just continue that process. So yeah, it's an ongoing wheel. And that's what I always say. Let's do it.
Real quick, I'm gonna kick this back to y'all. But you touched on something that I just can't stop talking about. There's 8 billion people. There's thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that do franchises. But you know what? There's only one Greg, dadgummit. And I'm telling you, it can't be overstated, folks. Not just for the high value clients, but also for every client, because they're all special, right? They don't have to do business with you, right? So think about that. Why me? Because we had connection, because we brought value, we got along. All my clients, I love them. If I can't just love you and talk to you, I don't. We work together. You know, that's what a job is for, right? If I wanted to work with people I didn't like, I just work a corporate job again. But this is the freedom aspect. But I love what you said, because you're all about it, and partnerships and doing things like this. That's the way to elevate in tough markets, right? Align with people, right? And you see the Hounds. We're with Pantheon FM. That's strategic. We're with Lua. We've been with Lua from the beginning, right? Level Up Academy. And now we got Phil the Connector running around with us, right? So, like, that's the thing. Hey, we're all aligned. Why would I go and duplicate someone else when I can incorporate them? All right. And so I want to bounce this back. But CJ, I know you probably got a million things to add to it, and we'll have a new topic. So go ahead, my friend. Or maybe she doesn't. Maybe
What are we talking about?
Right.
Russ, I was just listening to Russ because he's right about making sure your ideal client is your dream boat, right? Like,
Right.
when you don't match your brand with who you are because you're trying and busy to be somebody else, then of course you're not going to convert because you don't even know who you are. How are you going to know who's your client, right? Ask yourself what lights you up during the day, right? I was just talking to Greg and I didn't know anything about Greg, but now he's like, sure. I don't even think he realized that he just volunteered himself, almost like voluntold himself to be in my class. But you know what? It's all about franchise because I'm trying to help my students, especially veterans, to convert their, most of them are retired in their 40s and now they're on their second coming, literally, right? And now they have money. So they're going to waste that money for what, though? They're going to want to create a business. Well, Greg is already here. He already knows. So why not me connecting them with Greg so Greg can teach them how, and maybe Greg can have someone invest on franchise, right? But this is how it works right here with conversion. But what people need to understand is that they want instant gratification. When you meet someone, you want to convert tomorrow. Hello, Mike and I have been friends for 3 years. It takes a long time to really trust. You go through up and down to really see and get tested in your friendship if you really are meant for each other. But in the meantime, while you're going to do alignment, you also have to go through your own alignment of what you wanted to do. So refer others without being asked. I don't refer people just nilly-willy, guys. So when I refer, it's because I value my brand, my personal brand. If I refer somebody to Russ and they end up to be a I'm not going to say the name, that, a-hole person. Russ is like, CJ, you gave me 5 a-holes. What's going on here?
You're
Do you
right.
not value our friendship, or do you not know how to look out for characters that I'm looking for?
Now, if I want to break up with you, I know what to do. I just start sending
Right?
bad people. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, and I'm like, Mike, but I'm calling your wife. Seriously. I'm like, what's wrong with Mike? Did he take his bills today? What's going on here?
No.
Right? Oh my God. But that's what I'm saying. Your ideal client is always, sometimes they're not ready, but they're willing or able to buy right now, maybe in 6 months. Sometimes it's a long cycle. I have clients that don't convert until 16 months later, but they became friends, right? Because they see that you're consistently showing up, even when no one is showing up but yourself.
That's the farming approach that I preach and teach, and the Hounds represents. Honestly, if all the opportunities that we had, all the recent opportunities, traditional, tactics would not have done that. It happened because of organicness, right? Having the community, bringing Russ in, having conversations, showing up for one another. Then you're like, oh, wow. Like, okay, me and D. Scott, right? I met him, D. Scott Smith. I met him through Russ Hedge, Bert and Ernie, right on the show, right? And y'all got to go catch their show. Shameless plug. They got tons of them. But I met him, and then I just started talking, right? And then D. Scott said, oh, I know something. And then amazing opportunities are starting to crop from that. Where would that? You can't have a marketing DM strategy for that. Like, so don't, here's the caveat. And I want to bring this up. You have to be discerning as soon as possible. So here's the elephant in the room, because the folks in the audience, I know some may be, or they know people who are struggling. It's okay not to know anything when you start a business, but don't stay there too long like I did. So my point is when you go out here and you're just like, people say, well, go on a podcast. And you just go on any podcast because you don't understand what you do well yet and what your thing and niche is, and you don't know how to communicate it. But here's what I mean. If you can't afford an expert, if you can't afford a branding expert or something right now, right, what you need to do, and what you need to do anyway, in my opinion, is when you go out there and do something, examine it. Did I like it? Why did this work? Why did I not like it? You start asking the question why over and over again. And then you do it again. Because what you don't want to do is get into a year of building a business and go on random stuff that has no clients, right? That they're not there for you. So you have to make sure, hey, if I go on this thing, right, you have to be intentional. So you just start shotgun, but then you got to pay attention, because you'll figure that out. I like this. I don't like this, right? Because people look at me and go, oh, this. I had guidance. I've had people, but it wasn't easy. Even when I got the guidance, I had to flush out the tactics, right? I had to go out there and have courage to look goofy before I figured it out, right? There's no shortcutting it. So what is y'all's take on this? Greg, do you have any input on, some people are so new that they don't even know what question to ask, right? Like they come to entrepreneurship and build a business, and someone says, build a website. So they build a website. Well, that website ain't getting nothing. Nobody's reading it. So what is your kind of general take on anything we talked about? Or, what's your advice for someone who's like, man, I don't know what I'm all about yet?
Well, you've got into entrepreneurship for a reason. If you're starting out your own business and you're doing it, I mean, there's a reason that you're doing it. Generally speaking, if you're doing it and you're going to do it all by yourself, and you don't go the franchising route, you just want to start a business yourself, you probably know a little bit of something about the business in the first place. You kind of got to on that. You don't have to, but it's probably a good idea. So I would say the first thing to do, and the first thing that I did as an entrepreneur, I started out in franchising, but it doesn't matter. Either way you go, you do it yourself. You do it through franchising, is do as many of the different things yourself to begin with, because you've got the time. You got plenty of time to do that. So you can go out and you can do the things, everything that's involved in that business yourself. Then look at that after you've been doing it for a week or two, and look at the things. This is what I did. Look at the things that you enjoy doing. What do you enjoy doing most? Do those things. Those things you do not enjoy doing most, there's always somebody out there that not only enjoys doing them, but will probably do them a whole lot better than you, because they do enjoy doing it on the most. So find those people that are the experts at doing those sort of things. Even now, 12 years later, I'm trying to do a little funnel thing going on there. And, I was doing chat GPT, CJ we're talking about, the new technology now. And I thought, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I think I'll go out and and I just needed to put a landing page together. So I said, well, I got Chat GPT, and I've got my own webpage. I'm just going to go off there and use Chat GPT and create my own landing page. I started doing that, and I went into WordPress, and I'm like, this isn't going to happen. So I just turned it back over to my team. But even if you're just starting out, you probably have some knowledge about the business itself and doing that. So focus on what it is that the reason that you went in to become an entrepreneur to begin with, and focus on those sort of things that you really enjoy doing, and find somebody else to do all the rest of it. Simple as that. That's what I would do.
Well said. See, when you make great comments on my show, I pick on you again, like right back to back. So, yeah, it's an endearment. So, you struck on something heavy, and I want to make sure we'll go back around the room. When you start off, it's almost like entrepreneurship is the new corporate grind, right? The 9 to 5, right? Entrepreneurs. Now we're all business owners. Well, not really, because we own a job, like a doctor. If they don't work on patients, they don't get paid. The goal, what I hear you saying, is you can either build or start a business that has a faster probability of being self-sufficient, right? So in other words, if I have a business, I don't show up and I still get paid. That's the goal, right? Having a business that operates without you being there. So is that why franchise? So why is franchise a good option versus doing it yourself? What are some real key benefits to getting a tried and true model?
Well, you've had somebody that's already made the mistakes before on that. So when you become an entrepreneur, you're always going to make mistakes. Even a franchisee, as a franchisee, I've made some mistakes. But you've got somebody there that's already been through. That already knows what not to do. Don't do this. It doesn't work. And they know what to do. They know who their ideal client is. They know who their ideal franchisee is to begin with in the first place. On that, if you watch the movie The Founder, you know that when he first started out, he didn't even know which one of his what his ideal franchisee was. And he figured that out pretty quick on there, who it wasn't. But your franchisor is going to know who that ideal client is. So they're going to know who to market to, how to do the target marketing. They're going to have the marketing system in place, and they're going to have other systems in place that are going to help you grow that business as well, so that you can get to the point where you're not buying yourself a job. Now, if you want to get into franchising where you want to buy yourself a job, well, I've got plenty that can do that. That was my choice. I did not want to deal with on that. So I got into one where I was doing it all myself. But you've got all those systems and processes in place that will take you to where you want to be, 2 to 3 years quicker than if you were to go out there and do it yourself. You've got not only that franchisor that's going to help you grow, but as you're going through the franchise investigation process itself, you're going to be talking to other franchisees. And generally speaking, franchises give out a designated territory, so nobody's competing with each other. So now, not only to have that franchise that's going to help you grow, but all those people that you talked to before you decided to invest in a franchise, those are all your people that are going to help you grow. So franchising is not for everybody. You still have to be a self-starter, because the franchise is not going to call you up in the morning and say, hey, Greg, it's time to get up and go do your thing. You still got to do that. You've got to be able to be mentored. You've got to be able to follow a system and process. And I'm assuming that, well, I don't assume it, I ask it actually on there, that you have some risk tolerance, because anybody that goes into business, entrepreneurship by yourself or a franchise, it's still a risk. Franchise is just going to reduce that risk down a bit more, but it's still a risk. There's a franchise out there for everybody, but franchising is not for everybody out there.
Well said. All right. I know these two. Go ahead, fire away, because you're right. I can either build it from the ground up. Maybe I don't have the investment. Maybe there's not a good fit, whatever. But boy, in hindsight, yeah, because nobody opens up a McDonald's and wonders if it works, right? Like, we know McDonald's works. You just have to work. So what are your thoughts on this? Because Mike's Burger Shop probably will fold, right? So, because I don't have the processes, I don't know all of this, and I don't have the backing.
No, not necessarily. Every franchise system started out somewhere with one unit, one person's dream, one person's idea. They did it by themselves to begin with, and they took it from there. So anybody out there that is running their own business by themselves, at any point in time, you put those systems and processes in place, you can turn that into a franchise system. As entrepreneurs, we generally prefer not to buy ourselves a job on that. So you've got to get those systems and processes in place so you can take a vacation on there. It's great if it makes a lot of money, but it doesn't do any good if you can't, step away every once in a while.
Yep.
Because get into entrepreneurship for the sole reason that, well, maybe not sole reason, but one of the reasons why we get into it is because that corporate world was just the 9 to 5 or 7 to 5, whatever you work, is just too demanding. You couldn't get away to do the things you want to do, do things for the kids. You don't want to get into entrepreneurship and have the same issue, or only 10 times worse on that. So you've got to have those system process in place. But every single franchise started out with one person. Well, almost every single franchise. Don't want to be that specific, but for the most part, one person, one idea. They grew it, and they grew it into an empire.
Well said. Y'all see why he's my franchise go-to now? You see why, because well-balanced, no sales, all education, and spot on. And I love that because you're right. Like, hey, just somebody like me probably wouldn't be a good fit for a franchise because I like to innovate. As soon as they said do it this way, I'm like, I'm going to do it better, and that's not good. So chime in, CJ. I know you got to be dying right now. Go ahead.
No. I love that because I do teach somewhat of a beginning of a franchise part of the business class, right? You and I would be in trouble for sure because I think the franchise versus an entrepreneur. So the business model, what I love about franchise is the plug and play. You buy into the pre-built structure, you're good to go. Whereas an independent entrepreneur, you build it from scratch, literally the vision, the systems, and everything else that Greg was saying. For the brand power, it's instant brand recognition and trust. Who doesn't know about Starbucks, or who doesn't know Starbucks? Probably not it, but McDonald's, right? Or Dunkin' Donuts. Whereas if you're like us, we really starts at zero. You build the brand from the ground up. Who knows it's going to take whatever. Listen, TikTok took 8 years to be 1 trillion. I'm just saying, okay? Now, freedom to create. We're limited when you have a franchise because you follow the brand's rules, right? Uniform. The chicken nuggets has to be that same chicken nuggets, right? For us, we have unlimited. It's riskier. It's messier. It's more trial and error and falling in the face. Support and training. Franchise, wow, tons. Ongoing corporate training, marketing, operations, all of that. For us, none. Literally, we have, unless you have built your own support network, we have no support. We call each other. We do, even at midnight, at 1 o'clock, your wife's like, who's texting you? It's CG again, like that. Right?
Why are you up at midnight watching the show? Because she's on the West Coast.
Right? Like, you need to watch this right now, Mike. It's midnight. I don't care. Go watch it right now. Like, that's literally me. Right? But franchise, earning potential, moderate. Sometimes it could be high. It's capped to the brand and the policies and the region that you're doing. For entrepreneur, it could be unlimited. Sky's the limit, but so is the crash potential. You go from hero to crash again, right? The exit strategy for franchise, it's easier to resell it if it doesn't work out. For us, it depends how well you've built it. My family's built a family business in Japan for 55 years. My uncle probably already did five in his lifetime out of 50 years that I can remember taking a vacation. 5. Wow. Sure, he's a billionaire, but can't take a vacation. Right? There's a pros and cons.
I mean, that's... But again, don't give up and just say, well, this stinks even worse. I forced myself to be in uncomfortable positions. I said, no, I'm not going to wait. Because I kept saying year after year, Greg, well, when this happens, when I hit this benchmark, when I make X money, I'll take time off. You know what happened? Never came. So then I said, you know what? When 6 o'clock hits, I'm family. I'm dad now. And that forced me to say, okay, well, now how are you going to do your work? Well, you're going to get up earlier. You're going to be more efficient. You're going to hire people, right? And that is something else. You got to be busting at the seams, Russ, because you know about this, man. You've been around it. You've consulted people in this wheelhouse. What do you say, brother?
Well, first off, I love what CJ said, talking about the plug and play, and same with Greg, as far as having all the systems and everything involved in a franchise. But like CJ said, when you're on your own, it's up to you, but you can build your own support system. So besides helping each other and besides supporting each other, which is always a good thing, collaborating, doing things together, you can also get amazing people on your team that will work for you and support you. I would be nowhere without Ever, who is my teammate, who is amazing, who does probably way more than I do. She likes to do all the stuff, just like I think Greg said it early on. She likes to do the stuff that I don't like to do. She does all the repetitive tasks and things that she can do, is really good at. I can do them, but I don't like to do them. And she does it way better than me anyway. So you build your own support system and your own people working for you so that you can scale and grow in your business. It's you don't have the like Greg said, you don't walk into the plug and play and you have all the systems and the name recognition and the brand is all sitting there for you. So you have to work it all out, but you need a good team around you because you can't do it on your own. Personally, both you and CJ might be able to be up at midnight. I can't. I physically cannot do that. So I need people that will be up at midnight or be doing other hour things, for me. So there you go.
Yeah, y'all brought up an amazing point, which is support. And I think
Yes.
subconsciously, I built the Hounds because I didn't have a franchise. I didn't have any mentors, no family members. And I knew, I'm like, I don't know what I don't know. Like, I got strengths and a whole bunch of weaknesses. But
Right.
that's what I tell people. Like, listen, I have a lot of weaknesses, but I don't because I have a CJ. She plugs the holes in the boat. Russ plugs the holes in the boat.
Let me add to that, Mike,
Go ahead.
because what you just said something that we were talking about on the Experience Live with Russ and Scott this morning. You don't know what you don't know till you know what you don't know because somebody else tells you what you don't know.
Exactly.
And I learned this whole process through many years, but a very vivid um, example is when my parents were aging and dad had cancer, mama had Alzheimer's. I did not know how to deal with that, but there were a lot of great support people around me that knew what I didn't know and what I needed to know to do. And so it made the whole process doable. Actually, I went through that journey so much better because of the help support of others. And so, no matter what you're doing in your business, the help and support of others is going to guide you and move you in the right direction when you get good people around you. And you know what Jim Rohn says: you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Hang out with good people. Start learning from good people. Working with good people. Hang out with Greg and CJ and Mike. I mean, those are the kind of people you need on your team.
That well said, man. I know CJ's got to go teach, so I got to get her. But I want to make sure we give the folks like, hey, that like, because I know what they're thinking. So you reach CJ 135. How many countries are there now? Is there 130 to 39?
155 now.
Okay, so you're at 135 or more across 6 continents. Yeah, a little impressive. But how do you maintain quality connections at that scale without it just becoming noise and nonsense?
So to be honest, at the very beginning, I didn't know what I was doing, obviously, because I thought you just push a button and that was it.
Yeah,
Like,
me too.
not it. And I used to edit them. I don't anymore. I also used to be exhausted, almost at a burnout rate because I had too many coffee chats. So what I do now is I put boundaries and really take the time to say, okay, I only want certain people in my live stream. And if I can't get that certain people, I have plenty of things to say. Believe me, I've taught for almost 15 years now. I got plenty of things to say. But I prefer if somebody else would come here to give their opinion and I can add mine. So I prefer quality conversations and quality people than just some random people. And I think when I did that, and what Russ is saying about collaboration, right? When you collaborate with the right people within your lane and your alignment, explosion happens.
Or
And then people just tend to listen more often. And I don't even have to refer or anything. They just do. Right. And I went from like, geez, probably 20 downloads a day to 20,000 to half a million in a month. And that I was amazed. I'm like, how did that happen? And then I figured out my stats. 13-year-olds are listening to me. Why are you listening to me? I'm talking about business, right?
right.
And so now I know it's because a lot of people don't want to go to college anymore. And you're like, well, I have 4 degrees. Why wouldn't you want to go to college? Because I tell them, stop being in the theory. I will teach you in my class, experiential learning, meaning I'll tell you the theory because these are foundational things that you need to know. However, you need to test it in the market and see if it works. That's why my degree is applied, not theory, right? I'm not a PhD, I'm a DBA. There's a difference. I do application on that theory. And that's what I think people realize is like, you don't need any of these other paper that you need to validate that you're capable. You are capable. You don't need all of these things. However, you need to align of what you love the most. Because when you do that, look at Russ. He loves talking. He loves networking. He's so amazing. Russ literally texted me while he's sick. How are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? How are you doing? Right? And I talked to Susanna. I'm like, have you talked to Russ? Why is he quiet? You know, and I do have that conversation with Susanna. Russ, you probably don't know. I'm like, should we drive to Oregon? Wait, you're in Oregon. Why are you not seeing Russ? You know, like literally, I'm going to drive. Is he okay? And Russ doesn't know it, but we do. And Danielle's like, I'm down. Let's go drive to Russ. I'm like, should we bring the dogs? No, he has a dog. Like, that's the conversation we have. And I'm like, would you imagine if we go to Mike's house and he doesn't know that we're there? I have his address, guys. And he's like, oh, should we show up? I don't know. We should, maybe, you know?
I'll stick the dog on you.
Right? Oh, dogs love me. I'm sorry. I have a zoo in my house, and
She'll
I'm not
kiss you to
afraid
death.
of big dogs. I have a part wolf German Shepherd. We're good.
Yeah,
But
we're good.
I love people who loves people genuinely. Not just talk about it, but consistently show up for others when no one else does show up. That's what I love. And that's what I love about you. That's what I love about Russ. And I don't know Greg yet, but I can feel Greg like, oh, wow, we talked about the old school ways and he's engineering. I'm like, ooh, I love engineering. Let's talk about that. And Motorola and chips. I'm like, ooh, I get excited. So I get nerdy. I'm sorry. But that's just the people. I love people who loves people genuinely and not the like, oh, I want to see if I can convert you to $10,000 coaching. Right? Like, seriously, right. I just want that conversation. So thank you for that.
No, I love that you said that, CJ, that you love people that love people. And that's where the magic happens.
And I know you have to go because I keep telling her to cancel her class, but apparently she's got to get paid. So thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you for the birthday shout out last week. You did surprise me. So have a good one, my friend. Be good. Thank you. And wow, I love it when she just drops a whole bunch of stuff and leaves. So I got to sort through it. So you guys got to help me. But go ahead, Russ. You were going to say something else, or?
Well, no, I just think I love this conversation because it's really what you're focused on. What is the most important thing? And she said it so well. If you're focusing on pushing a $10,000 coaching plan on somebody, but you're not focused on the person and what they really need, how you can help them, you're never going to have long-term success. Because long-term success comes from your heart. And I mean, I could just, from the moment we came on, I've never met Greg before. I'm always excited to meet new people. I can see his heart from the beginning of just the way he speaks. And that's the kind of people I want to hang out with. So I think that's when great combinations and collaborations happen. That's when great things move forward because of the type of people you're hanging out with. And when you get a good community, I had somebody a while back say, they didn't like LinkedIn because they got spammed all the time. And I said, well, it's because you're in the wrong community. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, because the people you're connected to that are connected to people are drawing people that are spamming you. I said, I have such a great community that the people I'm hanging out with are bringing other amazing people that are connected with me. So I'm not getting spammed all the time. And the people that do want to do that, I just nicely say, thank you so much. Appreciate that. I'm happy to be connected and talk, but not interested right now. And as long as they drop it, they're fine and they can hang out in LinkedIn. But, you know, the whole thing is just the right kind of people. Yeah.
Yeah. The quantity through quality, right? Again, we can go on and on and on about this. But I mean, before I did sponsors, I talked to you. And who gives, you could go petty land and go, oh, well, he's the competition. We could have been that. But folks at the highest level, they choose collaboration, right? That's the highest level. It's a choice. And then what did I do? You had to go on a trip. You were trying to help out and support the cancer thing. And then I went and tried to help you get there. So it's a choice, but again, what if I would have sent a goofy, spammy DM, you wouldn't be here right now. Like, and by the way, CJ, you know how I met CJ? Everybody want to know this because nobody knows. Somebody asked me. So somebody introduced me to CJ. And I looked at her profile and she had like 2,000 followers, right? And this is still where follower counts and everything was being pushed and all that jazz. And that's fine if you want to be an influencer. We're business people, right? It's a little different game, right? Quite a bit. So I looked at it and here's what got me. I said, oh, she's a professor. She was pushing up her students. I just loved everything I saw. Didn't care about her follower count, didn't care about nothing else. I said, this is something special. So I built the relationship, and I want y'all to understand that out there. Whether you're in the Hounds, not in the Hounds, in my course, I don't care. Just because someone has 90 connections and not active doesn't mean that they're not amazing. You know how many high-powered CEOs are running around? They don't care about algorithms. They don't care about kitty meme videos. They're just here and now and then to see if there's anything serious and opportunity. So don't judge a book by its cover, not in this case. All right, go out there, have honest conversations, and if you can't do business with them, introduce them and connect them with somebody who will. That's worth 50,000 viral kitty meme posts right there, folks. No kidding. Because if you look at my stuff, I ain't trying. I'm over here making sure people like Russ get connected, because when that happens, guess what happens? They shout you out. You don't have to talk about you, and people think you're attractive. Go ahead, Russ.
I was going to say, this is what I love about that, because I'll be completely transparent and honest. I was just a millisecond away from not going to be on a part of an anthology book that CJ and I wrote together. First time I met her, I did 2 books with her, and that was the beginning of a great friendship and a great relationship. But it was just one choice that I almost made the other direction. Today, I can already tell that Greg is going to be an amazing connection, a great, amazing friend. I was 1 second away from telling you, Mike, I couldn't make it tonight because I was really tired and I was coming back from a doctor's appointment and all of that. And I thought, nope, I'm going to buck up, drink some coffee, and I'm going to do it. And I would have never met Greg had I not shown up today. It's those choices you make along the way. When you're hanging out with good people, make the right choices. Move forward. I think that it's important to take care of yourself and important not to overdo it. It's really, really important, because without you, it doesn't matter about connecting with everybody else if you're not in a good spot. But you've also got to make sure that the time you do have, you use wisely and efficiently with the right people. That's how you make a difference.
Amen. Well said. Because again, no exaggeration, I'm not being cute. I would not be here several times had it not been for the emotional support, for the business insights, all of it. People calling me, pushing me up. And also, don't forget this, folks. This is what we're talking about. This is not just willy-nilly stuff. This is profitable. This is conversion. When you invest in people and you help them, because when you get to know people, you'll help them. You'll talk to them about other problems that aren't business related. But don't be surprised when the floodgates open on that. Now, I'm not saying spend all your time just having random talks. What I'm saying is that, again, all these opportunities came because I was cultivating the process, right? Trying to find people like me to invest in, to help out, to push up. And that's what happened, right? So don't think this is all hoopla and time wasting, right? We're talking about being intentional. And just like, I think Russ missed it, man. Remember my mentor? He said you beat 50% of people just showing up. Hey, Russ just proved it for us. He's like, my goodness, I'd miss that opportunity if I didn't do that. So thank you, Russ, because it's who. It's absolutely who. I mean, like I have the privilege of writing with CEO Zones and Bill Forrester. Right. Well, how did I meet Bill? Well, Dr. New introduced me to Kevin Smith, right? Bill must have saw me and Kevin and went, what is this? Right. And so he was curious. He popped in. And now look at the compound effect. It's huge. I can now go to networking events, not say a word, and everybody goes happy. Why? Because I'm known as the guy that pushes other people up. Well, that's what you want. Like I'm about you. And that's why you're so good servant leader, because you're about value for the person. And and you mastered this. I'm spilling the beans on Russ. If y'all don't know, take note, because if Russ invests in the right people, 99% of the time that comes back, and he don't ask for it. Most of the time he don't expect it. If he does, he'll tell you. But he just loves on the right people. I mean, Greg came because of Tanya Eberhard. So she was connected with Greg. Yeah, birds of a feather.
Tanya's amazing.
Oh man, brand face, right? And so now that's a natural relationship. Yeah. And so anyway, Greg, I had a question for you, but if you want to chime in on this before I get to it, and then we'll wrap it up, brother. Do you want to chime in on this, or?
No, go ahead and ask a question.
Yeah, see, me and you, we get along good. I like to talk, you like to listen, Greg.
I do.
So I'm gonna let the people know, right? Wall Street Journal best-selling author, right? You've got built-in credibility. But for someone just starting out, how do they build that trust factor that's so daggum important with prospects who don't know them from Adam?
Write a book. Simple as that. business cards are just pretty much nothing these days on that. Write a book and tell people about yourself. Tell people about who you are. Give some background. In my book, that's what I do. I wrote some background on myself, some personal stuff about why, how I got out of the corporate world and how I got into franchising on that. Even if people have written books in your business before, they've never heard it from your point of view. So that's the best, I would say, one of the best ways to do that. And don't give out the business cards, give out the book. I've given out, probably hundreds of thousands of business cards, and nobody's ever called me and said, "Hey, I got your business card here, and I just thought, I'd give you a call." However, after I wrote my book, they said, "Hey, I got your book here. It really resonated with me, and I thought I'd give you a call." One other thing that the book does is that those people who think you're a complete idiot after they, read your book, they're not going to call you. So you weeded those out already. They're going to find out eventually anyway, when you talk to them. So, it's best to get that done up front. So now the only people that come to you are people that say, "Hey, what your story was, really resonated with me." And, give some, if you've gotten into that business long enough where you've had some clients before, give some real world examples like I did in there of how you help people and, what they were struggling to do and what their outcome was on that. I think that's a huge plus and a huge step towards credibility when you actually have a book that you can say, "Hey, I got a book," and then just give it away as much as you can.
Yeah. Absolutely. Russ, you got a book. I love your cover, man. Befuddled. Like every time I say it, I do like this.
Yeah, you got to have the hand motions here, Mike. Befuddled, live the life you choose. There you go. Befuddled, live the life you choose. It was I've learned that my children know so much more than I do nowadays about technology and about a lot of things. My little teeny 34-year-old and 32-year-old, my son, one of the guys in his band in high school that I was the manager, roadie. My wife and I, my beautiful wife and I, were the roadies, the managers, the everything for them. But he started doing some of this. He was a pastor at a church, but he also was doing graphics and all that. And he did this cover and did a great job, really nice job in my colors, and have a super great personal branding photographer who took those photos, and they make me look way better than I really look. So that's good. So anyway, and I hope, Greg, that people, when they read the book, don't think I'm just a complete idiot, but I do agree with you 100%. I learned a long time ago when it comes to the what you put out, the content you put out, like for example, your email list, celebrate when people unsubscribe, because you've weeded out somebody who doesn't really care. And you know what? You could have a small, very interested group on your email list, for example, just a good example, way more productive and efficient than a group of thousands who could care less and don't ever look, right? So that's the thing, is I think you need to really focus in on the people that care about what you're doing, are interested, just like Greg said, great information.
Yeah, quality. Yeah, and I know we all have to wrap up, and I know, Russ, so if you all don't mind, before we tell the folks where to find you, because I know they want to, let me ask you this way. So, and I'll just leave it out general. CJ can't make it. I'll answer for her or in her stead. But let's get down to brass tacks real quick. Practical application for most folks. If someone's tuning in tonight, and thank you for showing up, Luke. Good to see you, my friend. And they want to start attracting better prospects now, what's the one thing each of you would tell them to focus on first?
So say that one more time just to make sure I heard it right.
No, it's okay. So somebody wants better prospects. All right, what's one thing that you would tell them to focus on first now?
Okay. Greg, you go first. I talk too much.
Okay, I'll do that. First of all, you got to figure out who your better prospect is. That's the very first thing you need to do. Is who is your ideal candidate? If you're first starting out, that might be a little bit more of a challenge. It gets easier as you get more prospects and more prospects come in, because then you've got the statistical data to show which ones are your best prospects. You can do ages, you can do, how much money they have, what they worked in the background, whatever it is you're doing in there. But really, the very first thing you need to do is just figure out who would benefit most from what you are offering on that, and really just nail down your ideal prospect as narrow as you can get it.
Right. And it might take time, but that's the mindset. Every step you take, every action, you need to be asking that. Absolutely. That was gold, Greg.
So I'm going to add to that and say, Greg, I'm with you 100% on that. But I'll say the next step on top of that, hang out where your ideal prospects are. Hang out where the people are, whether it's online, whether it's in person, whatever. If you want to connect with the right kind of people, hang out where they are. It's not like brain science, everybody. You got to get yourself in the right circles of people so that the right things are happening for you. And so I would definitely say Greg's is number one. You got to figure out who that is. And number two, hang out where they are.
Hey, all right. So I'm going to ask myself, since CJ's not here, on the visibility aspect. So if you're looking to attract better prospects now, the one thing I would tell you is drop the sales pitch, drop all curiosity, guys. Listen, on and off LinkedIn, online, I'm telling you, when you actually read or skim someone's article, they worked hard on that. Okay. I'm not talking about great share, great share, great share. Okay. I'm talking about, hey, Greg, what you said in this paragraph, blah, 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 DDD. Greg said, oh, wow, somebody actually read this thing, right? Two things, folks, value and curiosity. That's what the Hounds of Business helps you do. And that's what I teach and help people achieve. Value and curiosity, right? We all heard about my story. I don't want to embarrass the gentleman here. But, instead of coming in and saying something over my pay grade, I want to come in and say, hey, you know what? Thank you for sharing that. Do you know my friend Michelle? She also helps the same women in a different way. You two should connect. Wow. Now you go away and they're going to go, who is that? Right? And then, oh, yeah, Mike's great. Mike's great. See, stop thinking about your dadgum self. Before I get preachy, I'm going to give this to you all. Just focus on it. Advertising is, and nothing wrong with it. If you're good at it, I'm jealous of you. I tried 40 years, had to figure out another way. Advertising is you pay money for it. It's me. And that's okay. People expect that. You know what they don't expect, folks? If you're on a budget, you're building the business from scratch and dirt. You know what they don't expect? They don't expect hundreds and thousands of super pros of all walks of life to run around on and offline and say you're great. You can't manufacture that. You can't buy that at the corner store. And y'all know that no one's going to endorse you. There's no way someone's going to put their name on you and lose their livelihood they worked that hard for if it wasn't true. So if you really want to prospect and attract like a bug zapper, then you need to stop worrying about you and make sure the interest is in their favor. 51+% of what you do needs to be in their best interest.
Amen.
So there you go. And if you have trouble doing that, here comes the shameless plug. That's what the Hounds of Business is for. It's Redneck Camelot. And we're going to go in a second, but I want to drop this. If folks today are amazing, since COVID especially, you're willing to give up 401ks, your safety, you're changing careers to start a business in your 40s, 50s, and above. That takes a lot of courage and a lot of desire to make the world a better place. But most people won't. You know why? Because they don't have the dadgum resources, people, and support to do it. That's why we exist. We're not the only way, but we are a way. And if you're trying to build or scale up your business, no strays out there. All right. That's what you're around. You're around rock stars like this in the comments, on the screen. I have a group call. You can find us on Hounds of Business. I put it everywhere, guys. It's like grass, man. Find the group call and check it out. Because listen, if it ain't for you, I have no ego in this. If you come in and check out the Hounds and, it's not for me, I'll walk you somewhere it's better fit for you. Because we complain about all these things, cancer survivor rates, inequality, homelessness. And the problem is that you sitting out there could make a difference in that through your business and through your freedom. That's why these gentlemen are here. All right. That's why we exist. So no stranger danger. If you've been inspired by this, if you feel like, you know what, man, it's time to go, reach out to me, reach out to us. We're not perfect, but we care about folks, and that's what matters. So Greg, my friend, where can folks find you? And when's the best time for them to reach out to you?
Best time is right now. The best way to find me is probably franchisemaven.com, my website. On there, you can email me at greg@franchisemaven.com, and that's franchise, MAV as in Victor, EN.com. Or you can just do it like, we were talking about earlier, the old-fashioned stuff. You can do it the old-fashioned way. Just pick up the phone and give me a call, 361-772-6401.
Check that out. See, I'm even older school. I still do carrier pigeons. How about that? You don't know nothing about that. Russ might. He lives out in Oregon, right? Y'all do that?
Well, what I need is I'm focused on what Greg just said. Say your phone number one more time, Greg.
361-772-6401.
Great. I left mine in the private chat, by the way. And so, yeah, looking forward to connecting. Everybody can connect with me at russhedge.com. And yes, I live in Oregon in the beautiful green, lush Willamette Valley, where you're an hour from the Pacific Ocean, an hour from the mountains. It is the best place to be. Love it. Mild temperatures, my kind of place. So, but I'd love for you to connect with me. russhedge.com has everything. So go there. All the information you need is there. You can schedule time directly on my calendar to Zoom with me. That would be awesome. And I love to help people. My marketing coaching is based on exactly what we're talking about. And guess what? If you connect with me and you want to have a chat about it up front, there's no cost for that because I'm here to help you, not to make a bunch of money off you. So there you go.
Yeah, no, and you can make a ton of money doing the right daggum thing. I never want to make a ton of money doing stuff sleazy way. I'm going to do it the honorable way because I want to sleep at night, right? And so all that nonsense out there, man, hey, forge your own path. All right, go through it because listen, yeah, it's a heck of a journey, folks. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. But the benefits outweigh all the hardships. I'm telling you, man, to be in a position where you can help people more, it's catchy. Like it's like a drug now. I'm like, okay, how can I get more time, money, and freedom so I can go out there and help more people with it? That's it. Like I caught the bug. So if this resonated with you folks, man, thank you. You might be birds of a feather with us. But thank you for showing up. And I see new folks. Is it Everly? Is that how you say it?
Ever's there in the comments. Yes.
Yeah.
And she even, Ever's amazing because then she becomes me and she starts answering everybody and putting up great information about me. She even put up Greg's phone number. So we're all set there.
Oh my goodness. So Yolanda already, I smile when she comes.
Yolanda is great.
And now she's watching us from both channels, LinkedIn and YouTube. Wow. Okay. So you get double gold star, Yolanda.
Yeah.
But seriously, folks, thank you so much. And we have a special show next week. It's Troy Carnes and Tammy Cohen. And most of y'all heard me talk about Troy, but not Tammy. Tammy, long story short, teenagers, right? She has 2 teenage boys and they communicate text. So she decided to just go ahead and play their game and start texting her sons. That turned into a book, which is now on its second publication. They updated it. So I'm telling you, man, and these are regular people. These are people who just worked the job and one day was just like, I want to do something special. And they went through all the hell to get it right. And it's not easy, but dadgummit, it's worth it. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Russ, for making it. Greg, oh, man, we'll find out if Greg comes back. He's one of us. Hopefully he wouldn't scare you off, Greg. Hopefully. We love you, man. We appreciate you, and thank you for your style. Reach out to these people. So let's run the intro. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next week, same time. All right, Princess Wave. I saw Susanna say it. I do it.
Bye, everybody.
Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.